Hello, 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 hello. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to the movement. We are the movement, a motivational organization there to educate minds, empower, nurture, and transform. And as we so affectionately say, and Annette has got her, oh yes, she got her movement going on. We are a movement to move. We are a movement to move. We want to help you thrust into your purpose so that you could live the best version of yourself and win. We tapped into some winners' resources. We're seated at the winners' table, and we just want to help you tap into that because we want to see you win, right, Annette?
That is so right. And Anita mentioned that table. We want you to come and join us and eat with us tonight. We have something to share with you. Thank you for coming on.
Well, tonight we have a great discussion. And once I got into the discussion, I started kind of figuring out where I wanted to go with this talk. And when I got into it, it's like, oh man, because we had one title, we kind of shifted it around a little bit. But nothing in this world can take the place of persistence. When you're going after something and you're persistent, that is when things will happen. Talent will not do it because nothing is more common than an unsuccessful person with talent. There's a lot of talent. Miles Murray talked about how much potential had gone into the graveyard and how many people died with so much potential because they never tapped into the ability that they had in their mind. God made us so intricately that we have the ability to do just about anything, but we limit ourselves with our beliefs. A genius will not, because unrewarded geniuses is almost a proverb. There are a lot of people who have genius ideas, genius inventions, genius things that never really took off or that they never pursued. Education won't do it because the world is full of educated people. There are a lot of people who were perpetual students who have great education, 5 degrees and no job. 5 degrees and no ambition, or they get a degree in something and they work in an entirely different field. So having an education is great because your mind is expanded. You become, bigger as far as that part is concerned, but it won't take the place of persistence. And when I started looking at this thing, it's like, wow, persistence and determination is what works. So our topic tonight, is every stumble is not a fall. I'm going to share our screen with you. Every stumble is not a fall. And that is actually a portion of a quote by Oprah Winfrey. It's a portion of a quote that Oprah Winfrey made. And I'm going to get myself going here. I got to get all my little stuff off the screen so that I can open up our presentation. Every stumble is not a fall. But the full quote that she says is, every stumble is not a fall, and every fall does not mean failure. Just because you fall, that doesn't mean you have failed. A stumble is a stumble. And I'm going to actually show you the difference between the two. And of course, I always have to get my word. I have actually 2 verbs I'm going to deal with tonight. My words tonight are stumble. Well, actually, I'm dealing with stumble and fall.
Yeah.
But stumble I'm going to deal with first, because to stumble, when we look at the verb in an intransitive state, remember, intransitive means that, sometimes I have to explain this because I know some of you who may not be on with us all the time know what I mean when I say intransitive verb. An intransitive verb, and I describe this verb by referring to a passage of scripture in Deuteronomy 1:6, where God was talking to the children of Israel who had gone around in the wilderness for all those years. And they had been going around in circles and they were so close, but yet so far away. And he told them, you have dwelt in this place long enough.
No.
Turn and go, because I have set the land before you. The word dwelt and the word set later on in that passage have the same meaning when you look up the etymology of the word and the overall meaning of the word from the lexicon. You'll find that the word dwelt meant set, as though it's a firm thing. It's set in stone. It's firm. So he's saying, you've been sitting here in cement long enough. And then he put action and said, turn and go. You have dwelt here, meaning y'all been stuck, but moving. That's basically what it is. You're moving, but you're not getting where you need to go. And then transitively, the word set and the word dwelt is the same word. The word dwelt meant set, and the word set means set, meaning that I have set the land before you, and everything that's between you and it is yours. That you have an automatic connection. There's nothing that can stand in your way. We can speak to the mountain and command that it be moved. So when I look at the word stumble, intransitively, it means to blunder or to move unsteadily or confuse, or confusedly, excuse me. So to blunder it means to move unsteadily or confusedly. It means you're confused and you stumble, you blundered a little. And that's, you see the guy tripping on the carpet here. That's what that word means. And intransitively, it means to trip. And the word to trip means to make a mistake or a false step. Fall, however, intransitively, it means to drop to a lower position. And transitively, it means to disintegrate. So just because you stumble, just because you blunder and you move unsteadily or confusedly, does not mean that you will drop to a lower position or disintegrate. So every stumble is not a fall. And that's what we're going to talk to you about tonight. Now, the first thing I want to deal with is just because, okay, when we look at this picture, we see this guy, his foot is stuck in the carpet. Now, I don't know if you've ever been there before. I have many times. I have been there tripping over my own flip-flop. Honestly, my mother hated flip-flops so much. And I have never been one to really wear flip-flops that often, simply because of the fact that my mom hated them. As a child, she wouldn't buy them for me. Like, yeah, I had no stupid shoes. To her, it was a stupid shoe. And she didn't want to buy the stupid shoe. So we didn't get flip-flops a lot of times. Flip-flops and slides. She thought it was the biggest waste of time. So when I have been there, even recently, even walking my dog in these flip-flops, and the flip-flop get tangled up in the crack in the cement, and I'm looking like that. So I said, your 52-year-old behind need to go inside the house and put your tennis shoes on, because those are the days that I don't decide to walk for exercise, but I'll get my flip-flops. So I've been there where I'm like, I can see the ground attracting itself to me and wanting to fight, and I'm determined that the ground won't win. So that in itself is a stumble. And when you stumble, and remember, stumble means to move unsteadily or confusedly, or to make a mistake or a false step. So when you make a mistake or a false step, or when you move and you blunder, the thing is, you can recover.
Yes.
You can recover. And a lot of times we'll stop at a stumble. We'll get to a certain place in our career, in our business, in our movement, in our ministry, or organization, or whatever it is that you, as a businesswoman or a man or young person, are called to do. We'll get to a point where it doesn't seem like things are working in our favor, or I'm not, it's not happening. I'm not getting there. I'm frustrated. Or you'll make a mistake, or you'll become confused, or you'll make a wrong turn or a false step and give up. That's it. I'm done. It's not going to happen. It's not meant to happen. That's a sign. It's not meant to happen. But I'm here to tell you the devil is a liar, because if you would understand what a stumble is, you'll know that even though he stumbled, it didn't mean that he didn't recover, because if you keep moving, you will get there eventually.
Yes.
You will get to your destination. You will get to your dream, your purpose. You will get to success. You'll get there, but you have to understand that just because you stumbled a little bit, you're going to recover. It's just a blunder. And I've been in a position so many times where I've blundered in career moves. I've made mistakes in my life as a person, as a young person, especially, because I always say to young people, you're not grown until, first of all, just because you're 18 doesn't mean you're grown.
That's right.
You ain't grown when you are of a legal age to drink. You're not grown at 23, 24, because why? Your brain is still developing until you're 25, 26 years old. And then at that point, you know who you are, because whatever you have become is you're not gonna change unless you decide to change. So when you get to that point that you're like, I don't know what to do. I'm grown, and can't nobody tell me what to do and how to live my life and who to marry and who to get in a relationship with. I'm grown and I can do what I want to do. So when you get yourself to that point that you are so full of yourself that nobody can tell you what to do, you just might be grown. And at that point, you have to make every mistake yourself, and all your blunders and all of your stumbles and all of your confused steps and your unsteady steps and your false steps and mistakes, everything, all of that is on you. Because mom and daddy done what they're supposed to do. They taught you, they raised you to nurture you. Whoever raised you, auntie, uncle, mama, daddy, aunt, cousin, whoever raised you. And then when you get influential people in your life who are there to guide you and give you wisdom, and God will put people in your life sometimes that'll offer you some wisdom. So sometimes, sorry. So sometimes when we get to that point, I'm sorry, I'm grocery shopping on Instacart and they were late. So sometimes when you get to that point and it's like, people have come into your life that were there to nurture you and guide you and give you advice, then you come to this place where you're like, I don't want to listen to what they say either. So you're getting close to grown. And so at a certain point, it's like, okay, well, hey. And then you turn 26, brain has stopped developing, you are who you are going to be, there's nothing else that can get in there. So anything that's going to change, by the grace of God, you can, but you have to make that decision.
Yes, that's true.
And it takes you to grow to a point to learn yourself to get to that decision. But I guarantee you that even in those stumbles, even after your brain develops and stuff and you get in your 30s, and sometimes some of the biggest mistakes I made in my 30s, and got in my 40s and like, realized stuff, but had to recover from so many stumbles. But the thing is, you'll get there because it's never too late. If you are still breathing, it is never too late to do what you're supposed to do. So you'll get there eventually. You have to take it for what it is, because a glitch is a glitch. It's just an interruption temporarily. A glitch is a glitch. The rug was there. His foot got caught. It's just a glitch. It's not permanent. It's not ongoing unless you just keep going back to the same rug and not straightening it out and not picking up your foot. You have to learn from the glitch. But the glitch is there. And oftentimes the glitch is there to force you to pay attention. Because had you been paying attention to where you were walking, you would have noticed that the curb was a little higher, or that the rug was turned up, or that the red flags were there about don't date him. Or listen to your mama because she right most of the time. You just don't believe it and you don't realize it until you're about 40 and start sounding like her. But a glitch is a glitch. And you just have to take it for what it is. And once you do that, once you understand that you can recover and that you'll get there because it's just a glitch, then you can find your balance. Because obviously there's something that's off about the situation.
Mm-hmm.
When you run into the stumbling blocks in your business, in your ministry, in your purpose, there's something that's a little off. And before you start looking to point fingers at everybody else, you got to get in the mirror and you got to deal with you. You got to deal with yourself. You got to deal with where you missed it, where you made a bad choice, where you messed up. These things take a, when we have a stumble like that.
I was laughing about
you all in my Kool-Aid. Hey, listen, I want you to type this in, Woo, and I want everybody else to type it in with their a glitch is a glitch. It's just that. It's just a glitch. Type in a glitch is a glitch. Y'all help Woo Woo out since she say I'm all in her Kool-Aid. So the thing is, when something is off in your situation, when something is a little off in your life, when something has you a little unsettled, pay attention. Just pay attention. It's, you know, the glitch is there, the imbalance is there, the stumble is there for a reason. It's not just there to make you trip and to, you know, just to embarrass you. No, it's there to teach you something. There's something to learn. And when we get to a point that we have those mistakes, we mess up, that's what repentance is for, people. Stop acting like y'all don't know. The Bible says all have sinned and come short of the glory of God. You don't think you think you're perfect? Oops. You're not perfect. Sorry, y'all. Fire the PowerPoint, lady. You're not perfect. Everybody makes mistakes. Just get yourself together because you will move past it. It's not the end of the world. Find that balance. Find that place. Get yourself back focused because you can recover the stumble, the blunder, the trip. You can recover that. Don't worry about the fact that you made a mistake or a false step. Just find your balance, because once you get to yourself in the mirror is when you'll get past it. Because you have to self-examine. You know how it is when you trip? I was looking for some gifts. I couldn't find gifts that really did what I wanted to do. And some of it was way too out. But when you trip and you look down like, oh, what was that they got? What? You have to examine. When you trip and you find your balance, you're not just gonna keep moving. Now, if you keep moving, you just cool for ice cubes. But when you trip and you have a blunder or a stumbling moment, you're gonna stop, you're gonna get your balance, and what you're gonna do? You're gonna look back to see what tripped you. And that's what we have to do. Find the balance. Because once you do, you can move past that thing. Why? Because you recovered. It's possible, people. It's possible. Now I can go to a net slide.
Watch where you're walking. I know I recently had an incident, and I put it on social media when I was coming out of the church and I tripped. My daughter had just told me, "Mom, watch where you're stepping," and I wasn't paying attention. And I I went going forward, but there was somebody there to break my fall.
Woo,
So sometimes in life, it looked like you're not going to make it, but if you keep hanging in there, I could have, if it had not been for those people that were there, I would have, me and the ground would have had a relationship because I was heading for the ground, but it was like 5 ladies and they caught me, So sometimes when you're stumbling, you don't always have to fall. There are times people be there to catch you. Sometimes you can even catch yourself. So, just watch where you're walking. And one of the first things that I really want to talk about when you're watching where you're walking, you have to plan ahead. Now, the interesting thing about that particular incident was that my daughter she cleared the way for me. She had already told me
exactly
where I was going. And a matter of, by the time she said, "Mama, watch your step," I had already fell, and she was already ahead of me. So, but sometimes in life, to stop these falls or trip or stumbles, we have to plan ahead. We got to know what we need to do. What with your organization or your businesses, what do you need to do? Okay, you already got it up and running in some cases. What do you need to do with it? And who's going to do it if you don't do it?
Come on.
Who's going to do it? And what are the particulars? What do you need to do? What do you need? What are the areas you need to work in? One of the things I find a lot of times, even in my own organizations, I'm all over the place sometimes. Instead of saying, I got a plan. What is my plan? Because when you do a little bit of this and do a little bit of that, and that, sometimes you get nothing done. So, watch where you're walking. That means plan ahead. Look, survey your area. What am I going to do today? Am I going to work on this? I'm going to work on that. And so we have to learn that, you have to watch where you walking, watch where you're going, because this time is we're in a time that we got time to really begin to do some things. You're on lockdown, shut down, or whatever they want to call it.
That speaks to where we are right now.
Yes.
With this coronavirus, because when you are not prepared,
Exactly.
what happened with mayhem with people in the stores, that's what happens.
Yeah. It does, and we're not prepared, and then we have not planned ahead, and then we just go in the store, just we don't care about nobody. It's like human nature almost take on this horrible way of thinking. I know people are normally not like that. Why would you go in the grocery store and buy every piece of meat in there? It makes no
They sure are, girl, all the chicken.
But that's the kind of stuff, and we're not planning. We have never been here before.
Mm-hmm.
And and especially those of us who know the Lord, this stuff we've been told about this since I was a little girl.
Exactly.
Even 2,000 plus years that this stuff was gonna come past, but we still had not planned ahead. It almost caught us by surprise. So you have to watch where you walking.
And you have to pay attention to what our moms used to do. Our moms always had like canned goods and stuff. I mean, and that they never, sometimes they wouldn't even use it, but they would buy stuff and just keep it for a rainy day. You never know when something's going to happen and you might need to grab something, because you know what? They've been through wars. They've been through, stuff like my dad lived through the Depression. So when you look at stuff like that, we have never, this generation, especially the one generations after us, and really kind of sort of mine, because I came in the civil rights movement. But this generation, these last generations, have taken life for granted so much, especially in America, that we don't prepare. We don't prepare.
And I can remember my mother and my grandmother used to take peaches, and we call them canned, but they used to put them in the jars.
Yeah, my mom canned.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then we had preserve and all that kind of stuff. And so, if they said every grocery store would close, we still had something to fall back on.
Right.
And so we don't plan ahead. We're walking aimlessly. We're not even walking where we're going. We're just living life.
Oh, come
and
on,
not walking
girl.
And watching where we're walking.
Oh, that'll preach, right?
We also have to reduce wet or slippery surfaces. Can't talk today, okay? You got to make sure you have the right traction. You got to monitor your effectiveness. You have to take appropriate action to clean up the spills. In other words, when you're getting ready to take this business to another level, and you got to understand that along the way, there are going to be some slippery surfaces. Mm-hmm. There's going to be some things that cause you to, if you ever maybe stepped on like water, and it goes slippery, and you go to moving around.
Yes.
So in this season, this is what I believe. In this season, we got to get the right traction. We got to get to the place that we get in position. And I know everything's been a little slippery. It don't look well right now.
Uh-huh.
I believe without a doubt that things going to eventually pan over. And there's going to be some heartache and disappointments, but we have to learn that where we are now, even though this is a slippery surface, what are you going to do? What are you doing with your businesses and your organizations and your ministries to make sure you have the proper traction? Because life is going to come, situations going to come, but we got to be grounded. We have to be like that tree planted by the rivers. I think it's in Psalm 1, it talks about the trees planted. So we have to make sure that we have the right traction, that we're planted in a place. So when life comes at us, that we may slip and slide, but we will not fall.
Yes, yes.
And then we have to learn how to display the wet signs as needed. So sometimes you got to put up a sign, say, this area is wet. I can't go in. This is an area I can't tread on right now. Because it don't make sense if somebody just mopped the floor. You see it, but you're going to step on it anyway and slip and slide. Sometimes we have to say, hold up, wait 1 minute. I'm not going to go that way, because that way is dangerous for me right now. I'm going to stay here, and I'm waiting on you, God, to give me directions so I can go to the next level. I can go to the place that I need to go to. So we have to make sure we reduce some things in our life that causes us things to be a little slippery. Mm-hmm. Now, what's going on with the virus? There's nothing we can do about the virus, right? But we can pray. But there are some things that we can do about ourselves. We can obey when they say stay home. Put yourself in position. I'm bored. Well, work on your ministry. Work on your dream. Work on your vision. So if you got all this downtime and you don't have to work, you can only watch so many movies. I mean, you can watch a lot, but after a while, that gets old.
It does get old.
Yeah, I think this is a time of building. Mm-hmm. I believe this is the time to build. So when this thing runs its course, and it's going to run its course, and then we can go forth with our organization. Because let me tell you something, there are some things that I really believe that there's some things have ended for some to cause some of us to take their place. Because there's some places we will never be able to go if certain things haven't happened. You know, there are some jobs.
You're saying something.
Yeah, organizations are wiped out. But I you know, when the Bible says the wealth of the wicked is laid up for the saints, it's not just talking about monetary. It's talking about good organizations that he allowed us to step into those areas and flourish. And then as long as we make sure that we give him the glory.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's just the truth. And next, we need to wear the proper shoes. You have to evaluate the what kind of shoes you have on. Because let me tell you something. You know, back in the day, I used to couldn't rock some heels. Okay, you know, I love heel, but my doggone knee hurt. So I'm sorry. I'm just my diva days. Well, I'm diva with everything but my feet. Yeah. But I had to make sure I wear the proper shoes. I had to make sure, you know, that when I wear my shoes, that my shoelaces are tied. Because one of the most dangerous things with shoes that needs to be tied, if you don't make sure your shoes are tied properly, you can trip and fall. So we have to make sure we have wear the proper shoes. In other words, we make sure that we're getting in line and we're getting in place and we're putting everything where it needs to be. If you know that's not your area, if you know you can't wear heels no more, don't wear heels. Girl. Make sure you get in line and line up in the place that God called you to.
I had to learn how to walk in heels again.
Oh, girl.
After losing, when I first lost the first 100 pounds, I didn't realize, and I had to go to a funeral and I didn't have any clothes. I had to put on a dress because all my clothes was too big. And so I put on a pair of shoes that I had in my closet. Oh my God, I felt like I was on stilts. I had not been in heels in years because why was I gonna wear heels at 417 pounds? No. So when I lost the weight, the first batch of the weight I lost, I was like, oh my God, I can't walk in these heels. I had to relearn. And so I did it that first time, but the second time I had to find shoes that fit where I am now because I don't know how to do it. And you're right. You have to wear the proper shoes or you'll be
You got to make sure, Nita, you got to wear and that's the same thing with your businesses. You got to make sure you have a proper stuff.
Exactly.
Stop trying to go in an area you know you're not ready to go in.
Or trying to do something that you see everybody else do.
Because that's not
or that you used to do that you need to let go of.
Because I saw this on social media some while ago. This lady was at a concert or something, and when I say her dogs were barking, that poor little baby, I was thinking like, oh my God, somebody. I mean, she had to literally lean on somebody because she was walking in something she had no business walking in and treading in some areas. See, let me tell y'all something. There's some areas you just don't need to tread in right now.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, you need to build. You need to trust God. I'm not saying God won't push you out there to do things, but you know, just about everything closed. There's some stuff open, but you have this time, learn how to build and walk in your area. If you need to wear low heel shoes, it's all right. You can be a low heel shoe wearing diva. That's just the way I look. And then you have to wear the appropriate shoes for your task. Wherever you're going, make sure you have the proper stuff that you need where you're going. Because I've learned something. The way they do it on other people do it, I just can't do it that way. I remember when I first started preaching, Anita, and I always, you know, I used to practice how to do that, and you know that girl, I was doing that one time.
You're trying to practice the hoop or that?
Girl, I got choked. I said, you know what? That's not your thing. You can't hoop. Leave it alone. You know, it was a thing on TV, on social media, hoopologist, where the guy was teaching you how to hoop. But I learned something by trying to hoop because I was trying to go in an area that I wasn't called to go in.
There's a lot of preachers. I know. I taught hoopology at New Birth. I had the class because Jasper Williams started the class. So when I put the Bible Institute together for the associate ministers, that was one class that I had, but I had to teach it. I didn't want to teach it. I wanted to be with somebody else because it wasn't many hoopers. Because, you know, hey, it's an art form. Homiletics is an art. It is not sermon development, presentation, and delivery is an art. Ain't nothing spiritual about it. It's an art. Hermeneutics, when you study scripture, is the science, and that's the spirit.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I know.
So you gotta, if you ain't got the art, like people who can't sing don't need to pick up a mic.
Yeah.
But the Lord gonna use me.
Yeah. Yeah, but one thing about hoopology, about hooping, I don't mind a hoop, but you gotta go. say more than and up, I see, so we can. Hold up, you ain't said nothing. You know, so just make sure you have the appropriate shoes for your task. And next, you have to control your individual. Oh, wait a minute.
Did I do that wrong?
That's all right.
Sorry.
You did.
Go ahead
That's
and
all
make
right.
your point. Go ahead and tell your
I can
point.
still make my point. You have to you control your individual behavior. You know, you have to make sure with your organizations, your business, whatever you've been called to do, it's all right to make shortcuts, but make sure they're the right shortcuts, you know, because you're building a brand. When you see the movement, you see me and Anita. So yeah, it called the movement, but we're the face to the movement.
Right.
So make sure that you control your individual behavior. You know, don't be in such a hurry. Sometimes we get ahead of God.
Right.
You know, because we want to get things going, but sometimes we get ahead of God. And you know, so you know how and one of the things that cause you to fall, we walking fast, and you know, our vision is hindered, and we can't see, and we're going anyway. You know, but you have to control your individual behavior, because again, you can have a wonderful idea, you can have a beautiful thought, but people still see you. So if they see you and you acting all crazy, they've already associated you with your brand. So watch where you're walking, watch what you're doing, because somebody, trust me, somebody is watching you. I've had people stop me and say, "Oh yeah, I see you write quotes." Ain't never got a like. Ain't never, but there are people who are watching, and so because they're watching you, you watch where you're walking, okay?
Come on.
And so just know that you got to watch where you're going, because we're building. You know, we're in a season of building, and also breaking your fall. And it goes back to what I was talking about earlier when I was at the church, and how it was 5 ladies, you know, I call them my angels, that broke my fall. Now I had my purse in my hand and I had my Bible, everything hit the ground. But I was able to they literally stood me back up. And I was, you know, and I was thinking, and I had wrote it on social media, what if we as a people would stand and help break the falls of others? Because we have a tendency to tear people down. But when was the last time we tried to help them? And you know, if they were going through a situation, that we learn how to break their fall. And that was one of the things that I wrote on social media. And you know, because I was thinking I would have really been hurt, because this particular church, the pastor did his own building. So there's a lot of stuff not up to code. Trust me when I tell you. So I mean, it was a big step, you know, but somebody broke my fall. And I'm here to let you know tonight, learn how to break your fall. You don't always have, just because you stumble don't mean that it's over. So your life, my first point of life errors is not your ruin. Just because you've made an error along the way, it does not have to be your ruin. You don't have to throw in the towel. You don't have to think that it's all over, you know, being who someone else wants you to be. You know, that is, to me, one of the worst errors you can make, trying to be somebody that somebody else wants you to be.
Yes.
Trying to appease people, because they thinking you should do this, you know, trying to appease your mama, you're trying to appease your children, you're trying to appease everybody but the person the one that made you. So that's an error in life. And when you try to appease people, it can kind of really throw you back, because what happens when you're trying to appease somebody, you end up walking in some areas that you shouldn't be walking in, and that's a waste of time.
Oh, come
That's
on.
such a waste of time. And you look up 5 years gone, 10 years gone. And I think I was talking to Sharon today, and I was saying, Sharon, could you believe it's April? I said, we were just talking about 2020 was coming in.
Exactly.
And here it is, April, you know, so, and another thing is waiting, but not working. You know, that's a life error. When you wait, but you don't work. When the Bible talks about waiting, it's not talking about sitting there, you know, twiddling your thumbs. It's like, you keep working until I bless you. You keep working until I do what I need to do. But we have a tendency to just sit, you know, just sit. God's gonna do it.
I'm just gonna wait on the Lord.
Yeah, God's gonna do it.
Faith without works is dead. Yeah,
you gotta go. You got to. That's a life error. And then, you know, because we waste time. And another error is deciding that we can't do, and living on the ghosts of yesterday. one of the biggest things I hear so much in the church, back in the day, I remember when that was wonderful, but that was the move of God. Then God did that. Then God is really trying to do a new thing. He really is. But we so caught up on what was the ghost of yesterday, how we did it yesterday, how God moved yesterday. God said, I'm moving different in this season. I'm never the same. I keep moving. God is like a river. A river keep going. It keeps moving. And so we get caught up in life errors. So life errors is more than just maybe some things you may have done wrong. You may have missed him in some error, but we miss him just by again, listening to what other people says about what we should do. Nita, think of you to listen to what people said. You would not be where you are today. No way.
No, I wouldn't.
Because that would have been a life error. But even with life error, it does not have to ruin you. Just my thing is we just have to learn how to hold on and believe and trust. Even with sometimes it's hard to trust, we got to hold on. We got to believe. We got to move on. So that's all I want to say about that. Just trust God and learn how to stay grounded in hectic times. You have to learn how to, stay grounded. You have to learn how to hold on to your dream, hold on to your vision. You have to learn how to clarify what you really want. Sometimes we kind of jumble. One of the thing that freed me more than anything in my life when I finally determined what I've been called to do. That way I was able to stay grounded in the hectic time and then hold on to my dreams. Because sometimes it's very hard when you're going through to hold on. It's very hard to take charge of your emotion and control your choice and be intentional, but you have to learn how to hold on. And the only reason I have been able to hold on in this season is because I know without a doubt what I've been called to.
No, that's the thing.
Yeah. Before, I just ran amok. I wasn't grounded to nothing. Child, please. A hectic time came, I roll all on the floor. Lord, oh God.
Help me, Jesus.
What am I doing? God, Lord have mercy. It's been hard. But I have to learn how to hold on onto my dreams, and I have to recognize that God is still there, and I have to even sometimes boost my own confidence. I have to continue to tell myself who God called me to be. Every now and then when I start doubting myself, and doubt will come, but because I'm grounded, when the hectic time comes, God will bring it back to my memory who I am, who he called me to be, what did he call me to do. And so I started to be like David, and I encourage myself. Every now and then, yeah, other people will encourage you, but sometimes you got to encourage yourself, because, when you have a dream and you see it coming to pass and all of a sudden it look like it stopped. So
yes,
this is the time when you got to be grounded, and that being grounded in God will cause you to hold on to your dreams. Hold on to those areas in your life that it does not look like it's movement.
Come on.
It looked like it's stale, and like nothing is coming to pass. And I realized I had to, when in my season of holding on to my dreams and being grounded, I had to regain my footing, because sometimes you lose your way. Sometimes life will cause you to get out of whack. And so I'm trying to hold on, and I'm trying to believe. And I was thinking about your footing, and I was thinking about when I used to dance. When I was young, I used to dance, and so there were so many different types of dancing. But there's certain dance you got to be able to regain your footing. There's some dances you can't do if you don't have no rhythm. There's some dance, there's modern, there's tap, there's hip hop, and I was a hip hop dancer, and so there were things that the frog and stuff like that, and that was a very hard. I can't do it now, but you would get down and you would hop like a frog. So you had to have a proper footing, because if you didn't and you down there trying to do the frog, oh, you going down.
I pay money to see that.
Going down. So you have to recognize that your footing. You got to, you have to ask yourself the right questions, okay, okay, God, am I going the right way? You know, keep me on the right path. God, is this what you calling me to do in this season? And so these are questions I constantly ask myself. And I recognize, that I have big expectations. I have expectations, but I want to know, God, am I in the right season? Because if I'm not, then I may slip,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes I may fall. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm learning along this journey that I personally believe that God will cause us sometimes to miss certain things because we're not ready. And we learned that the hard way, And even in 2020, when I'm looking at this virus, I call it C-19 because I can't never pronounce it, but that's all right. But I'm looking at this virus. Now wait a minute, now C-19, you getting in the way of what God called me to do. And he said, no, C-19 is not getting in the way. C-19 is clearing the way. So I had to
Oh,
understand that it
three
was clearing the
X.
way. I thought it was a hindrance and stopping us from, trying to get money. No, God said, I'm
Yeah.
clearing the way because there's some things that was going to cause you to never reach where I had called you to reach and be who I called you to be. So there's some things that God had to do along the way to clear the way so we can be and do what he's called us to do and be. And
Wow.
I'm gonna say this, and I don't think it's on my note, but anyway, I want to say this right quick. And we have to learn how to strut. And strut is a walk with a stiff and erect appearance, kind of arrogant, conceited. But for me, strut is this: you have to step into your dream with boldness. That's your S. You have to take one day at a time. You got to remember that all things work together for the good of them who love the Lord and who are the called according to his purpose. You have to understand who holds your future, and you have to trust the process. So I'm here to let you know that learn how to strut, because strutting also help break that fall. If you walk, you step, you take, you remember, and you understand, and you trust,
Mm.
gotta do it. So strut your thing, baby girl, baby boys, learn how to strut.
Right now. All right now. All right now. Wow. Cool beans. Well, and when you do that, when you get your strut, when you break your fall, when you get your balance, steady she goes. And one thing you have to understand is that, I know that it's tough when we're going through, especially when the season that we're in right now, because everything is at a standstill. If everybody's attention was never gotten before, it is now. And the attention of the world is at a standstill. The parents are having to take care of their own kids, and they can't send them off to school and blame everything on the teachers. And everybody's having to become technologically sound. People are having to do things that they've never done. I have, like we said about being prepared. Teachers were not prepared. I have helped several teachers to prepare for teaching their classes because they didn't take the time to take the class, even though those things were available to them. So a lot of people in these situations were not prepared in many ways. But when you get to that point that you break your fall and you understand and you regain your footing, you'll find out like, okay, yeah, it kind of caught me off guard, but there's nothing that catches God by surprise because it was all in the plan. Your stumble, that moment that you blundered, it was a planned stumble because sometimes, like we said earlier, is that it's to get your attention. And when you go through the attention getter and you break that fall and you actually realize all of those things that we talked about earlier, when you realize that you find your balance and that it was just a glitch and that you have to deal with the wet surfaces because they're slippery, and then you have to wear the proper shoes and you have to control your behavior. You have to control yourself and get control of the situation. And when you do and realize, you know what, this didn't take God by surprise, and he would not lead me to this if he was not going to take me through this, because God, has a plan for my life. He plans for me to prosper, even as my soul prospers. He plans for me to have great things. He said, Jesus said, I'm come that you might have life and that you might have it more abundantly. It was in the plan. And when you get to that place, you realize, you know what? I got this. Because you do. Every person on here, I want to tell you today and encourage you that you got this. Don't worry about what's going on now. Just start building and planning and preparing and keep, doing things with your music, with your business, with your ministry, with whatever it is that you're called to do, your purpose. When you tap into purpose, there's no better time than the present to start lining up with the purpose that God has for your life. You were born to do more than just go through the motions daily. You have a purpose, even if it's just to encourage somebody and get your relationship with God on a steady ground. Reconnect, because some people just don't. We don't pray, we don't worship, we don't connect to God. Some of us, we lose that balance in our lives. And I'm here to encourage you to regain that balance in your life so that you will not be so caught off by the glitch, because you got this. And when you realize that you got it, you don't have to hold your head down, chin up, shoulders back. Look to the hills from whence cometh your help. Your help. Look to the hills, look up, and don't look down, and don't be sad. Hold your head up and be proud, because you know why? You're a child of the King. And you're called for such a time as this. You are in the middle, in the center of God's will for your life. And it's time to get those things together and dust off those dreams. We've been talking about this we've been going at this for about 2 years now. And who knew? We didn't know. But God knew why we had to be on here and speak every Wednesday and encourage people and help them thrust into their purpose so that they could live their best life and win. Total transformation, dealing with limited beliefs, and not worrying about what somebody says about your dream and trying to repaint or repaint the vision that you envision. You have to get control of that situation. Chin up, shoulders back, confidence, boldly. I stand boldly before the throne. I'm not backing down. I know God's got my back. Why? Because he promised me. He told me. And then, Annette, when she said just strut, but I'm taking it to a whole nother place. When she was talking about you got to strut, mine is just strut. And I'm going to deal with the word. I had 3 words for y'all this week.
I didn't know you had that.
I did. Oh. The word strut means, when you look at this word from an intransitive place, it means to swell, to become turgid, to walk with pride, to, with that, that air about you. So when I say hold that chin up and those shoulders back, yeah, you're going to swell up because you're preparing to take a step. And when you take a step to strut, in the transitive sense, it means to show off your best work. You're showing off. Yeah, I'm a child of the King. Yeah, God got me. Yeah, he gave me this. He called me into this place. I'm going to thrust into my purpose. Yes, we are a move meant to move. Yes, we are. See, she rolling that neck, y'all.
You know me right down my alley.
Meant to move. And I don't care if there's 2 people or 200 people. I'm going to swell up and I am going to strut. Why? Because I know God put us in this place. I know exactly what he said to me, and I've never been so sure in my life about my purpose. So I am going to strut. I want y'all to type that in. Type in strut. And I want you to, while you're typing it in, swell them shoulders up and be confident about it. Type in struts. Struts. Yes. Strut, y'all. Strut, woo-woo. Strut, girl. Strut, Yolanda. Strut, LaShavia. Just strut. And that's about strut your stuff. I believe God. I believe God for you, and that you're going to have just what you're supposed to have. Why? Because he said it. And you have to understand, don't be bewildered by that stumble, because that's just what it is, a blunder. But a stumble is not a fall. And every stumble is not a fall. And a fall doesn't mean that it's over. Every fall does not mean failure. Even if you do stumble and hit the ground, get right back on up, brush yourself off, hold them shoulders back and that chin up, and strut. Yeah, I'm bad. And the doors of the chat are open. Excellent discussion, Annette. Excellent
It
discussion.
was. I didn't know. You know what? Nita, I didn't even look at your notes till you said strut. I said she sure did.
That's why, you know what, when I was making the notes and the PowerPoint, I remember when I did it, I made a mistake and I went back too far into your notes, and that's why it just said continue. I messed it
Yeah.
up. Mm-hmm.
Well, that was all right. I just kept going. I said, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
strut. Let's
Hey,
move it.
you just gotta keep it moving. You gotta strut. You gotta keep it moving. Won't you strut? Won't you come and strut? What was so
Whoa.
silly? She done done the call to discipleship. The doors of the church are open. Won't you strut? Won't you come and strut? You know, Woo is a nut. That is too funny. Well, if nobody else wants to say anything, because we have, opened up the space for the mics to open. We're so grateful that you came. We hope that everybody is staying safe and practicing social distancing. We hope that you're washing your hands. It is a trying time. It is tough. And I have to remind myself, and I'm constantly mindful, when you live with other people, be mindful of the people that you're coming home to. I wear my mask when I go out. And I even posted, I'm going to put it on the movement page. I posted one of the young ladies, Lily's little friend. She's making masks that are 3M masks. They have a 3M filter in them. And so she's sewing them. You need to protect yourself some kind of way, even though, all kind of stuff out there. Oh, the stuff goes right through the mask. Yes, they're not 100%. The N95 stops it. The dust mask stop it. The 3M mask, yes, they will stop stuff from going in. And you need to protect yourself. Even if it's not 100%, it's better than nothing. And don't take that lightly when you're out and exposed to other people, that you're not breathing in some of their particles. Because they don't know enough about this thing. It is, and it's all over the world. It has impacted the entire world. So really be careful. Stay home. Go out only when it's necessary, and be quick about it. Come home, spray yourself down with Lysol, wash your hands, wipe off all your groceries, any mail. Don't be picking up that stuff with your bare hands. And if you do, make sure you wash with soap and water for 20 seconds. Don't take it lightly. And we hope that everybody stays safe. We're in prayer constantly, and we're believing that it's going to pass. God, God has the last say so. He's in control. Nothing catches him by surprise. So she's talking about, Mom, stay home, Yolanda.
Yeah, because whatever. They sweat. I don't know.
Hey, when you're over that threshold, my nieces and stuff, I told you they dragged me into the threshold with Constance and Carrie. I'm like, I am not that much older than y'all. But yeah, she said she always.
She always in them streets.
I know. She was hoping that she could get out the other day, Yolanda. She was telling me, I just want to be in the mall somewhere. I want to go to the store. I just like to go to the store for no reason.
Yeah, but I've been home 2 days now.
Hey, you have to stay home. Stay home, honey. Don't be out in them streets, because everybody's not practicing social distancing. Where you may be practicing it and you may be sanitizing and washing your hands, everybody's not doing the same. And everybody's idea of clean hands are not the same. And we don't know who has it because of our president, that he didn't act on time. So pray for him, because regardless of whether we like him, and I watched a video by that Bernard Jordan did an interview, and he said he was convicted when he was calling him 45 because it's an office, and whether we like it or not, good, bad, or indifferent, he is the leader of the nation. We need to pray for him, because he's got to make the decisions over our lives, and God will move him when it's time to move him. So we don't have to worry about that, because God is in control. But we still have to humble ourselves and pray. If my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray, seek my face, turn from their wicked ways. I'm telling you, it's word, it's Bible. Mm-hmm. Then when I hear from heaven, I will forgive their sins, and I will do what? Heal their land. Mm-hmm. All right, good people. So you all have a great one. We'll be here again next week, same time, same place. Lord willing, life lasts. Hey, we are here without fail, with a different topic, at the same day and the same time, and the same login number here on Zoom. Tell a friend, bring somebody with you next week. They ain't doing nothing. They home chilling. Tell them to download Zoom, walk them through it, say, come on and meet me. So everybody bring somebody next week. All righty. Thank you so much. Y'all have a good night. Love you all.
Bye, y'all.